This will be a lot of drama, so bear with me. I, 45 female, am the mother of Sabrina, nearly adult female. She had a baby way too young. Let me start by saying that while I may not love the circumstance, I do love my grandchild, whom we'll call Liam, infant. I've always been strict about boyfriends and such with both of my kids, as I have a sister who became a mom at 15, and I was always terrified of that happening with my own. My approach worked well with my oldest, Mia, 25 female, who didn't start dating until her early 20s and ended up marrying her first boyfriend. Unfortunately, Sabrina's always been a bit of a rebel. When I received the news that Sabrina was pregnant naturally, I was angry, and I strongly suggested that she give it up. However, she refused and insisted on dropping out and getting a job to care for it. I made it clear that if she chose to have the baby, I would not provide any form of support. I wouldn't help with the baby expenses, be there for her, etc. She arranged for Mia to help with childcare, and I stuck to my word. The father chose not to be involved, so it wasn't great. Sabrina gave birth and things were okay for a while. A few years ago, we adopted a Chihuahua named Nunu. She had many health issues that Sabrina took upon herself to care for. This meant there were vet bills that I usually helped pay. Recently, its health has been declining. It started having trouble breathing, and Sabrina took it to the vet. She called me from the vet's office and informed me that Nunu had a trachea collapse and needed surgery, which came with a hefty vet bill. She explained that she couldn't afford it since almost all of her expenses were going toward Liam. She begged me to pay, saying she couldn't bear losing Nunu. I firmly declined. I had already expressed doubts and I was proven right. I was not going to back down on my word. Sabrina became distraught, accusing me of not even caring if Nunu died. I reminded her that she knew what she was getting into by keeping it, and that now she had to choose between keeping her baby alive or Nunu. She called me awful before hanging up. When I arrived home later, she was gone. Mia texted me, explaining that Sabrina had shown up at her apartment in tears and asked to stay with her. Mia suggested that Sabrina and I needed some time apart. She mentioned that she was considering paying for it to be euthanized, since Sabrina had asked her to cover cost, but Mia couldn't afford it either. I said no. As long as Sabrina's still a minor, she'll live under my roof, and I gave her 48 hours to return before I called the police. Mia asked me to reconsider and said that Sabrina was hurt by my comment. I stood my ground, stating that when someone makes adult decisions, I'll treat them accordingly. Eventually, Mia and I reached an agreement that Sabrina will come home after she finished work tomorrow. Sabrina remains furious, and it feels like both of my kids are against me. Perhaps I need another perspective. Am I the idiot? Edit. The bill was $1,700. Sabrina has had plenty of time to give Liam to another home that can provide. Her sister nor I am able to fund that baby, and clearly neither can Sabrina. You are the idiot. From what you posted, it sounds like Nunu was originally a family pet, meaning you as the parent bear financial responsibility for the dog's needs. Also, you're forcing a kid to pay for another kid? If Sabrina's old enough to be the main provider for her son, she should be considered mature enough to choose not to stay with the woman who told her to choose between loved ones. Further, OP saddled her teen daughter with the complete responsibilities of a pet and a child and thought she did an amazing job of establishing boundaries. Forcing your kids to not date until their early 20s is also problematic. OP, Mom of the Year, kindly reconsider your approach to parenting and overall humanity. Furthermore, you can't take the stance that your child is both a child and an adult at the same time. Is she a minor living under your roof or an adult you can expect to make adult decisions? Then you'll state that you'll call the police if she doesn't return home. What game are you playing here? It sounds complicated, but the way you've written it, it seems like you're just trying to punish instead of parent. You stop supporting your child financially. CPS and cops should be called on you. Update. If this is of any worth, I got word from Mia that the dog has been euthanized, and I told her that I'd allow Sabrina to stay for a week to come up with a plan together to create a safe financial system for the child. So my fiance and I are getting married, and a friend of ours is a wedding officiant from Universal Life Church, a side gig from his full-time job. Our wedding is about 2.5 hours from home and at 6 p.m. at dusk on the top of a mountain. Our officiant lives in our hometown, and we went over the contract, which is pretty basic. But a few days ago, he presented me with a bill which I think is ridiculous. Officiant fee, $250 license submission fee, $100 for fuel, $48, 2 tanks of gas. Hotel room, $289, and our wedding block at the hotel we're at afterward. I told him I'd pay for 1 tank of gas, since he needs 1 tank to get up and back, stretching it thin, and that's that. He already paid the $289 for the hotel room, so why pay him that? Then the $250 fee I agreed to, but $250 is a lot to stand in front of people for a 15-minute ceremony. He told me that if I don't pay at all within 24 hours of the wedding, he won't submit the license to the town, and I don't want that. I just want a simple wedding, but he has too many fees. He says it's customary for the groom's family inside to pay for the lodging and transportation and fees for the officiant, which I never read. I thought he would just give us a break, but he's stressing me out with the bill. These are standard fees for the officiant. You pay their fee or honorarium, which is usually higher than the amount they're seeking. He's required to take time out of his day to submit the license, drive 5 hours round trip to perform the ceremony, and then pay for a hotel room, as the officiant is normally included in the reception. He's doing things that any other officiant would do, and you're trying to rip him off because he's your friend. I'm so glad I'm not your friend. You are the idiot. You thought you could take advantage of a friend to get a deal. You said your wedding is late at night, so yes, he needs the hotel. His fees are reasonable. And you know officiants don't just get to stand up there and start talking out their butt with no preparation, right? Dude, do you know that getting married costs money? You're marrying 2.5 hours away at 6 p.m. It doesn't matter if you find his fees ridiculous. It's what he's charging. If you don't want to pay it for him, find someone else to be your officiant. Imagine marrying this dude. What a nightmare life. I saw you bought a cleaner with bleach, but we already had a multi-purpose cleaner, so we don't need this indulgence. Please transfer $398 into the household account from your personal account to cover this expense. I think you're about to lose a friend and impart some bad karma and juju on your wedding day. Pay your friend/officiant. My 33 male, sister 30, and her wife, 33, invited us to their beach house for the weekend. People there included my parents, my family, wife and son, my sister, my sister-in-law, and their daughter, toddler. My wife's sister and sister-in-law went out to the beach together, and it was clear they didn't want company and wanted some alone time as usual. My son had seen my sister-in-law's car and desperately wanted to sit behind the wheels and take a picture to show off to his friends. Since they were gone, I just took a few pictures of my son behind the wheel, and that was it. I put the keys back. When they were back, I showed them the pictures and said my son was really happy with the pictures. This, for whatever reason, angered my sister-in-law. She has 2 more cars like this, but is extremely mad at me for taking her keys and pictures in her car without telling her first. I apologized, but they won't let it go. As always, my sister's siding with her and giving me a hard time. Parents are on my side. Edit. The keys were in a bowl on the table right at the entrance. I didn't touch her bag. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. I only took the keys to 1/3 of her cars without permission. That's like more than half that I didn't mess with. So, obviously, I did nothing wrong. OP. Probably. You purposefully waited for your sister-in-law to leave because begging for forgiveness is easier than asking for permission. That's fine, but an idiot move. And we who use it know we're being idiots. Start begging. And what sort of excuse is, she has 2 more cars? It's giving the, well, you can afford another designer purse, so it doesn't really matter if I damage this one. OP, if it isn't yours, don't touch it. Most of us learned this in kindergarten. Additionally, you are a massive idiot for the example that you gave your son, that it's not necessary to ask, and when they complain, they're overreacting. Considering the genders involved, I'm tempted to consider it misogynistic, but the example you set for your son is definitely terrible. Karma might bite you in the butt, but unfortunately, others are more likely to bear the brunt or harvest of the seeds you're sowing. Oh, he's just salty that the little woman has 3 sports cars, and all he's got is a crap personality. Andy wonders why his wife wants time away from him. Also, do the parents agree with him? I'm getting hints of golden child here. Your parents obviously didn't teach you basic manners. So I'm a 21-year-old male. My girlfriend, Ella, 21, and I have been together for 5 years, and recently bought a place and moved in together. I have a few friends around the same age as me. One we'll call Caleb, 21 male. Last night, we had a housewarming party and invited a few friends over. I'd invited Caleb and 2 other friends from high school, and Ella invited a few work friends. Of course, some drinks were had, but none of us, except Caleb, drank more than 1 or 2 beers. After the night progressed, Caleb started commenting about Ella and her looks. I admit, she's a very pretty woman and always has been. Caleb started commenting on her clothing when she wasn't wearing anything revealing, just a skirt above her knees and a long-sleeve sweater. He started asking things like how I managed to score someone like her. I told him to cut it out, and he seemed to do so for a while. I'm not sure if it's relevant, but the way Ella and I met as kids was because of behavioral problems after her mother passed. She said that I was the first person who willingly decided to be around her since it happened, so I don't know if I see it as scoring. About an hour later, Caleb's comments about Ella started up again. He was talking about how short she was, but then started commenting on her body. I quietly snapped at him to stop, and even the other guys were telling him that it was going too far. It seemed that Ella had heard his comments because she went upstairs and changed into longer pants. Her sweater was pretty long already. When she came downstairs, I was angry. Caleb had made her so uncomfortable in her own house that she felt like she needed to change. While using choice words, I kicked him out of our house. His girlfriend came to pick him up, and the party didn't last much longer. Ella later came to me and apologized for the trouble she caused and how she was dressed. I told her that neither she nor her clothes were the problem. It was Caleb's sick comments. The next morning, Caleb's girlfriend called me, asking what happened, and after explaining, she was horrified. Caleb had told her that Ella was coming on to him, and I got mad. Caleb later told me I was an idiot for telling his girlfriend and for kicking him out, since apparently his girlfriend is rethinking the relationship. The guys are on my side, but a few of Caleb's family members tell me that I should get Ella and her slutty clothing in check. I don't know if I'm the idiot for doing what I did, but with so many people calling me one, I decided to ask, am I the idiot? Why are you even giving Caleb's family radio time? Block them. It's clear where Caleb's prejudice came from. Not the idiot. She was asking for it? Ugh! The misogyny is real. His family members? Which family members? Why is Caleb telling family members about this? And why do they have contact with OP? When I was 21, I don't think any of my friends' family members knew who I was enough to 1A, have my contact information, and B, think commenting on friend group drama is appropriate at all. It's one thing if the family members are siblings. Still, The vagueness of family members has me thinking like Caleb's aunts, uncles, or parents or something, and that's honestly kind of weird. I would guess it's a small town, and they grew up together. I knew a lot of my friends' family members at that age, 'cause heck, I swear everyone's related to someone in those small towns, and the rumor mill is alive and well when there's not much else to do. Caleb is a lying, intoxicated idiot who was hitting on Ella, who was dressed appropriately and modestly for a party in her own house. Caleb's just throwing her under the bus to try and save his troubled relationship. This is not a friend. He should never darken your door again. I'm proud of you for standing up for your girlfriend and for reassuring her that she's not responsible for his behavior. Many women don't hear that enough, especially from men they respect. It'll go a long way in the future toward preventing her from blaming herself if something ever happens again. It's beautiful to hear that you're helping her unlearn taking the blame. You two sound wonderful for each other. My son, David, 18, played baseball in high school. His coach, Martin, is very beloved by the students and parents. He truly goes above and beyond for his players and all students. He's developed a special bond with many of them. He's so patient with those moms. You know the type. The ones who whine their precious child doesn't get enough court time, agree to a commitment, and then let their child skip many practices for no reason and are surprised that their kid is benched, etc. Martin was a great mentor to my son, and I appreciate him. A few months ago, Martin revealed that his wife had breast cancer. He was taking leave from work and said he probably couldn't mentor students for the time. Most of us understood, including my son. One of the moms, Jackie, was one of the few who went past disappointment and felt that Martin skipped out on the students. It was frankly disgusting, and everyone ignored her. Martin was replaced by a temporary sub. He did his best, but wasn't as good as Martin. Again, most of us understood. The season still ended well. Martin usually always attended graduations and would go to a few grad parties. This year, he didn't attend the ceremony. He ended up going to one party along with his wife, but then she had another round of chemo, and understandably, Martin had to tend to her. Jackie threw a party for her son. I didn't want to go, but her son and David are very good friends, so I relented. Martin had been invited, but declined for obvious reasons. The boys weren't commenting on that and just having a good time. One of the other moms mentioned updating the meal train we had set up for Martin's family. Jackie got huffy and said Martin was showing favoritism by going to one party, but not the rest. She said he could have at least shown up to the last game of the season or graduation, and they could find someone else to stay with the wife. Another mom said, "Jackie, that's his wife. They have 2 little boys. Of course that comes first." Jackie said that she had made sure her husband kept up his commitments when she had back surgery. I finally had enough and told Jackie she was disgusting. A woman has cancer, and she's over here whining that Martin didn't attend the festivities. I said her son wasn't as special to other people, and she needed to get over herself. I then left, though my husband and son stayed. The moms are divided. All agree I was right, but some thinks I should have skipped the party or stayed quiet, as it wasn't worth a fight. After all, Jackie hasn't changed her mind and is still trashing Martin. Should I have just kept my mouth shut? Not the idiot, though I definitely think you should have left the "your son isn't as special to other people" bit out. That was unnecessary. She's completely rude, however, in believing that Martin owes anyone anything in priority over his wife, who's battling cancer. The fact that she compared her back surgery to cancer is insane. I think it was perfect that he said that, because in reality, her son isn't going to be considered special or relevant to other people, and that fact is going to hit hard when she realizes how no one actually gives crap to accommodate her precious baby boy. The reason rude people stay rude is because they get away with it. Everyone's the idiot here. Jackie for obvious reasons. But because you caused the scene at a kid's graduation party, he was probably embarrassed enough by his mom's behavior, but you had to talk about the graduating kid and make a scene, embarrassing both the kid and probably your son. Jackie had it coming, but the kid didn't. If you had that much beef with his mom, your son could have gone without you. And also, for a parent involved in her kid's sports, you don't seem to know much about them, as it's called a field, not a court.